This is an introduction to the idea of a partial derivative. We're going to look at the rate of change in the output values, but we're going to isolate that change to being only in the direction of x or only in the direction of y. If we isolate this change to be in one of these directions, then we're looking at what we call a partial derivative. So let's look at this definition. The partial derivative with respect to x is defined to be a limit. And this limit definition likely looks pretty similar to what we saw in Calculus 1. The big difference here is that we do have a y variable contained within this limit definition because of the fact that we have a surface function with two independent variables. Now, the partial derivative with respect to x is going to be signified using one of these notations is the most common. We'll talk about some other notations that you might see, but this partial derivative of f with respect to x is defined to be this limit. Now, to talk a little bit about what this means, we call this a curly d notation instead of the straight d that is used with derivatives of two-dimensional graphs. So this curly d notation, this partial derivative with respect to x, is defined to be the limit as delta x, or a change in x, approaches 0. And let's also consider this numerator up here to be essentially a change in the output z values. We've got an output z given by these inputs and an output z given by these inputs, and so subtracting those is going to give us a change in z. So let's just consider our numerator to be a change in z and the denominator to be a change in x. And as you might remember, and we'll see this in our concept drawing in a moment, that change in z over change in x can be interpreted as the slope of a line that is secant to a curve. And the limit of the slope of a secant line is going to give us the slope of a tangent line. So what we'll see here in a moment is that this partial derivative with respect to x is going to yield the slope in the tangent line to some intersection curve. Let's graph some basic surface function where z is equal to a function of two independent variables, and we're going to take a look at a constant y value. Let's call this y1. So the partial derivative with respect to x will isolate the change in the independent variable to be only a change in the direction of x, which means that we'll be holding the y values constant. So if that y value is being held constant, then the function that did have two independent variables would now be a function with only one changing independent variable, and this would be the output z value. We would only be looking at a changing x quantity in order to get that corresponding output z value. Well, what that would give us is a two-dimensional plane curve, or a curve that exists entirely within some plane. And the plane that it would exist in is the constant plane y is equal to y1, which again is parallel to the xz plane. So let's come up to our concept drawing here and consider the plane y is equal to y1. And let's slice this surface with that constant y plane to get a curve of intersection. Now let's take a look at an arbitrary domain element that is within this plane. So the x variable is the changing x quantity, so we could slide back and forth to change the value of x. The y coordinate here is going to be the constant y value because we're in this constant y plane, and if I'm in the floor, the z coordinate would be 0. So let's fly this point up to that intersection curve, and we get an ordered triple that's on that curve and on the surface. The partial derivative of this function with respect to x is going to give us the slope of the line that is tangent to this intersection curve at that point. So the slope of this tangent line is the partial with respect to x, and again we can also use that curly d notation here. We could expand this a little bit to say that the slope of that tangent line, or the partial derivative with respect to x, depends on the x value that we are using as a domain element. The y value would be that constant y1 plane that we sliced with, and when we use this notation, we can actually also see what the equation of that slicing plane was. So I'm going to zoom in here just a little bit more to additionally illustrate that if we were to look at another point on this intersection curve and to consider from one point on that curve to another, what was the change in the z values, in this case it was a drop, relative to the change in the x value. And since we're in a constant y plane, there's no change in the direction of y between these 2 points. We can connect these 2 points with the secant line, and the slope of this secant line is going to be that change in z over the change in x, or the rise over the run. And so back up here in our limit definition, we see that this partial is defined to be the limit of the slope of that secant line, which gives us the slope of the tangent line. So in order to calculate this partial derivative, which we have just seen is the same thing as the slope of the line that is tangent to the curve, when I sliced with a constant y is equal to y1 plane. So in order to calculate this partial derivative, essentially we're going to hold the y variables constant in the equation and then differentiate the rest of the surface function with respect to x, essentially treating the y values in the same way that we would treat the constant. So any derivative of y would be 0, just like the derivative of a constant would be 0. There are several other notations that you might see associated with partial derivatives. In that definition, I focused on this one and this one, but we also have that curly D notation which can describe the partial of z with respect to x. We might also see f sub x with no functional notation on it, and we might also see that f of x pulled off to the side entirely. But all of these mean the same thing, the partial derivative of the surface function with respect to x, and all of these would be calculated by considering those y values to be constants.